I'm Brana Milosic from Digital Leadership. That's a consultancy. I'm a digital engagement and transformation consultant. So have been working with non-profits in-house for a long time across campaigning, fundraising, communications, brand. Did I say campaigning? Yes. And then have moved into transformation because obviously in order to create journeys and engagement across all these different areas, you need a good technology stack and data to deliver it. So that is basically what we'll be talking about today. I'm talking with my colleague Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee. I'm from the RNIB, so Royal National Institute of Blind People. So if you were hoping to hear about jackdaws or lifeboats, that's not me, that's the wrong B. And I'm a digital optimization manager, which means I've basically got to turn being nosy and opinionated into a career, because I get to sort of dig into data and ask lots of questions about why we're doing things and try and get people to do what we want them to do. So a lot of work around conversion rate optimization and all sorts of different actions.
So what we want to talk to you about is what we've done this version of this presentation before. We called it a happy sad story, and that is because it's not necessarily a story of success. It's an evolving story. So of what we tried to do, what the problem we found, what we tried to do, and how it's going. But just to give you a bit of a context of what was going on at RNIB. So I started working with the organization about 18 months ago, was supporting their transformation process, trying to help them figure out how to do digital engagement across people, process, and tech, as you see the three bubbles. So one thing I definitely know, and it's my mantra, is whatever change you're making on tech, you need to think about people and process too, because there's always going to have to be an impact. And as well, if you're changing process, you need to think about people and technology, as we will see from the example with RNIB. So what RNIB has done in this process, so they've changed the structure of the division, of the engagement division. They've changed the way the digital engagement works. They've changed how they plan. So that is all the stuff that they have done. And I supported them in doing that. The bit that was kind of missing was the gap that we saw is the engagement strategy, or what they call customer experience, was really, really ambitious, but there was not really technology to support it. So, i.e. frictionless journeys or more automated data flows, so that everything was very manual. So when you look at what the strategy is trying to achieve and how are we actually going to make it happen across people, process, and tech, we had people, process, but we didn't have tech. So before we move on to the story, I just want to check in the mood in the room. So what's your biggest challenge with digital engagement right now? Is it people, process, tech, or all? So anyone wants to shout out? We're interested in your stories or thoughts. All? Say more?
Oh, well, people want to do it the way they've always done it, but they also complain that the stuff doesn't do what they want it to do. They're not willing to learn how to use stuff.
Yeah, that is that. So you have to take people with you. So the contribution was people want change, but they also want to do it the way they've always done it. So there's always a tension there. I suppose one of the kind of underlying notes in what you just said is the technology is not going to solve it. Any more thoughts on this?
I was process and tech.
Process and tech.
Yeah, because we've got people in the organisation that actually really do want to unlock that part of our work. They want to have better support journeys, they want to have better understanding of people moving and flowing through the journeys. But we don't really know how to kick off that process. And then we know that we've got maybe the right tech stack in place, but we don't quite know how to fix it. So we're kind of stuck at the start. But the people are willing to do it. Maybe
that's big. So we have there people are willing to do it, it's process and tech. So do we have the right tech stack and do we know how to use it? Is that a fair summary? Yep. And to be honest, if people are up for it, that's probably one of the best places you can be, because you can just try things out and learn. Any more? Okay, you want to hear our story then? Over to Lee.
Yeah, so like Brownie says, we've got big ambition. We want to have these seamless journeys where we're talking to people about what they want to know about. We are bringing them with us, and they have the very best experience with RNIB possible. But like a lot of charities here, we've got so many platforms. We've got supporters coming in through petitions, through advocacy actions, donations on a different platform. Challenge events on yet more platforms. We've got all these platforms. None of them are speaking to each other. We did some lead gen adverts, and it took 3 teams to get the data from one platform to another. And we've got all these manual processes, lots of friction, so we just knew it could be better. I've worked in smaller organisations where there's less of that, because you can just do more because you've got less people to work with. Worked with Brownie. Like, how can we fix this? How can we make it better? We need to fix this.
Yeah. So I suppose if I was to summarise all this, it was kind of 2 main things. One is a lot of manual segmentation and manual moving of data. And with manual segmentation, especially on email, what makes me always angry is when people overwrite the data. So there's the segment is uploaded afresh every time. So that's kind of one of the kind of no-nos in my book. And then the other thing is the manual moving of data between platforms, as Lee was saying, loads of platforms, and all the data movement is manual. So bad. Right, so then we were thinking, right, so how can we solve this problem? I'm going to kind of go slightly backwards. So there was this a 2B tech stack process, i.e. the organization was looking at, they just rolled out the new CRM, but they were also they are looking at enterprise engagement platform, enterprise Marcom system. And the process only started, so we knew the process was going to start this year, so this was the thinking at the end of last year. We knew that the process was going to start this year, where they're going to go around the organization, look at the requirements, go to different suppliers, etc., etc. So it's clear that the 2B process is at best 2 years away. So then the thinking is, so we know about that. We also know that the technology team is going through their own transformation, will have to manage this 2B process. Therefore, the capacity they have for us as engagement team is minimal. They have their other priorities. And the other thing that we kept being told, which I'm sure is going to chime with a lot of you, is procurement in this organization is a nightmare. It's going to take you 6 months to get anywhere, so don't even imagine it. So that's why we looked around and thought, actually, Engaging Networks is already in place. Campaigns team is running this for petitions and email your MP. Why don't we just demonstrate that actually Engaging Networks could probably deliver these ambitious journeys that we want to run, both for fundraising and mostly for fundraising and for marketing. The platform's already there. We spoke to the data team. They said, yeah, we're moving data between Engaging Networks here, so we're comfortable with you trying it. That is how we got to the decision to use Engaging Networks, to create an Engaging Networks pilot to showcase what the platform can do. Because obviously one of the things which I will talk a bit more about later, but one of the things is that there was this assumption from the fundraising team, the Engaging Networks is a campaigning platform and it can't do any fundraising. So there was a lot of work we were doing to showcase that that's not true. So I did a massive document, like a business case, which obviously works for some people, but that's when we were like, let's just show them. But rather, no one's going to read 25-page document with all kind of risk assessments and benefits matrices in. So, what did we do?
Like Brownie said, we'd had this paper, people had read it, but then nothing happened. So we tried to make a live experience for people. And that involved, we had a live petition, which was called the Out of Sight petition, which was around vision rehabilitation. So we created a dummy version of that, and I updated our templates to match our website a lot more. And you can see on the screenshots, there's one in dark mode. That's a big thing on our website, is that we have color modes that people can switch, but our existing template didn't do that. And we know that about 18% of our users prefer to use dark mode. So that was something that we wanted to make sure that we showed. And so, yes, we created a dummy version of this petition, and we got internal people to sign up for it, and it triggered an email journey. Oh, and I also created donation templates, very much mirroring what we already have. So the one on my left, I'm not sure if it's your left, with the widget and the photograph, that very much mimics our current donation page on our actual website. And then the other one was specifically to be used in the email journeys, because it skipped that donation amount choosing section, and it demonstrated some of the other functionality of engaging networks, so that the person's address would all be populated already, because that's not something that we can do with our current disparate systems. It's not in that screenshot, but we made sure we added digital wallets, because we don't have all of them on our current system. And when they signed the petition, it triggered an email journey that we'd put together, just a short email journey, 4 emails, which branched depending on what they did. So we went quite hard on donations, which we wouldn't do in real life, but it was a lot of the audience were fundraising, so we wanted to show them the potential of that. And then, depending on where they donated in the journey, if they donated at all, they received different emails along the journey. And then we did a show and tell, a live show and tell, where I talked through what we'd done and talked through some of the other possibilities that we could do, and made sure to focus on the things we can't do now, and highlight a lot of the benefits of moving to engaging networks and having that data in the same place, where you can segment your journeys really well depending on what people have done, what advocacy actions they've done for you, and just really trying to show the benefits that we would achieve by moving into this one system instead of having 3.
So what we've learned, be ready to communicate in different ways. As I said, we've had a number of different stakeholders to talk to. So we had technology, fundraising, engagement people, all different types of engagement people in the division, and basically that kind of business case, or what they asked for at first was options paper. That's exactly what we did, but then people started adding questions to it, so it ended up being, I think, about a 30-page document, which obviously not many people have then read. Some people did, some didn't. Which is why then someone said, can't you just do a pilot and show us what's possible? So when we launched the journey internally, people would actually sign up and go experience the journey as users, as end users themselves. That chart you saw, that's basically what would happen to individuals internally if they signed up. So trying to kind of work both for people who are more visual experiential, but also for people who like to read stuff. So it was really important to do that, because the people who were making decisions, or the person who was championing this process, needed assurance. She needed to believe that what we were saying is correct. Not that she didn't trust us, but she was just kind of feeling that if she had more information, she can really champion it, which she really, really did. So the second point around clear governance and decision-making, I'm sure you hear this all the time. In practical example, I'll tell you why it's important, because once this option paper was out, It was kind of doing rounds, it was going into meetings, the feedback was like, yeah, it was really interesting, this bit was really interesting, but we didn't get to the decision. And the decision was, there's 4 options, which one we're going to go for? Basically, that was the question in the paper. So the options were going, 2 options were related to engaging networks, 1 option was related to just kind of fixing what we can, and the last option was do nothing, which is obviously always something you need to put in. And they just couldn't make a decision. So eventually they themselves, or rather the person we were working to, came and said, to be honest, it's our problem because we haven't got a way to make a decision. So eventually they created a kind of steering group where they realized that this is only one of the questions they need to answer, and there is many more things that they need to look at regarding the engagement technology stack. So that is, I suppose, a good outcome of this process as well, that they realized that and now created this group, which makes decision-making much more easier, and they have made some decisions since they've created it. Not about this project, but about other things. And then, yeah, taking decision-makings with you takes time. So this is the point kind of related to the first one. Adjusting your style and communication style and what you're saying to people based on how they like to receive information, but also it's about addressing their concerns. So Lee was talking about wallets like Google Wallet and Apple Wallet. We were really insisting on showcasing that because the individual giving team was so keen to have that on the live website. So we really wanted to show them that that's the case. As I said, happy sad story. So we didn't get this through. It's like we didn't get a no, we didn't get a yes, but we decided to never give up. So we still kept going, or rather Lee did, because I've stopped working with RNIB in March, but Lee kept going, and this is what she did.
I'm all right. Yeah, so we've focused on quick wins because we may not be able to move ahead with what I'd like yet, but we can make what we've got better. So the petition form usability that was part of the pilot, we rolled that out, and we saw a 20% increase in conversion rate. We also added some other little touches, so we improved our opt-in there, moved to radio buttons with the little prompt of "Are you sure?" and we got our opt-in rate from 54% to 75%. And throughout all of this, we're just finding allies. So we've got a really strong ally in the campaigns team who just really helps because you're not fighting against somebody, so you're moving towards the same goal, and he's been championing the work in other teams and other meetings, and that just, it all helps to make people know that you know what you're talking about. We use .digital currently for our email platform, so we've rolled out the integration so that when someone signs a meta lead form, they can go straight onto an email journey. That is something you can do in engaging networks as well, but we haven't got that set up yet. And yeah, we are working on the wallets on the current donation platform. The individual giving team are very keen on using wallets for recurring payments, so that's a work in progress. And again, back on .digital, we've moved some of our forms that were on the website to .digital forms so that we can have automated journeys there, just to, quick wins. And working on setting up for success, really, so that when the tech does catch up with us, we've got the people and process in place. We are putting together a digital mobilisation working group because we've got great people across the organisation with great skills, great ideas, and it's really important to start getting them together as soon as you can. We're building skills and knowledge. We've rolled out a hub and spoke model, which basically means that in the digital team, we are like the hub of a wheel, and then we've got spokes going out into other teams that have those digital skills, and they act like extensions of us. And we have community and practice sessions, we call them, where we share skills and we do little workshops. Our social team ran a brilliant workshop on memeing, basically, but it was really great. And being proactive in building relationships and listening to people and finding out what it actually is that's making them reluctant to sort of try and answer those questions. A big thing has also been shouting about our successes and sharing learnings. I'm going to be talking in one of our larger department meetings about some success we had with daisy chaining a donation ask and some other tests we've done. But I'm always sort of making the point that we could do it better if. So with the daisy chaining donation asks, I'm sure we could do it better if the donation platform was also in engaging networks, because you can auto-populate the address fields and you have less drop-off. And yeah, other tests that we've done, just making sure to share those learnings so that people know that we're trying, people get us on side, building that track record. So especially when it's success, that people believe that you do know what you're talking about, and maybe they should listen when you're saying we can do better with a different tech stack.
People should listen.
People should listen.
People should listen to Lee is the main point. I just also wanted, I forgot to say this before, when I introduced the Engaging Networks pilot, it was actually thanks to the friends from Engaging Networks. Paul announced this earlier today. They've given us the fundraising module as a trial, so we're not paying for it, because we were just kind of doing a pilot and trying to do it internally. So they kind of released that to us a bit earlier. Thank you. Right, so I think that's all from us for the minute. But before we hand over for any questions, we have a question for you. Talking about never giving up, always having the next idea if you get a no to your idea. What is the one small fix that would move the needle on digital engagement in your organization? I can see you have more optimization.
No, better prioritization.
Better prioritization.
Everyone's like really bought into this idea of like support journey, digital engagement, we really want to do that, but we also do digital for the entire organisation. So it's like you need to prioritise it, and everyone needs to kind of buy into that priority. And if that's a priority, then we focus on that like 60 to 80% of the time, and then the other stuff kind of slows down. But they struggle with that because everyone has different priorities.
So the point there was prioritization. The team gets a priority, which means that they have to do that, but they have to do everything else as well. I can see a few nods. So yeah, prioritization. Actually, that was one of the issues. So when I came in at the beginning of the project, one of the things with the digital engagement team was that the organization was really frustrated with them. And I immediately said, let me have a look, but I bet you it's nothing to do with them, it's to do with the rest of the organization. And that is why they spend so much time into creating new planning process, because they acknowledge that the issue was that the prioritization was happening by the digital team, because no one was prioritizing beforehand, so they were just literally getting this avalanche of stuff, and they had to turn around and say no.
It's like a historical thing, right? It's just because of the way digital was introduced to charities, there's this like kind of newfangled thing, and there was no kind of process or structural framework for it to be introduced. And then you kind of now you've got digital teams that are just kind of at the centre of everything, organisations like picking stuff up. Same with some fundraising teams, but there's not been like a reset or kind of like a sit down and being like, now what do we do? Like, you know, where are we going to go?
Yeah.
Like digital is no longer like a thing on its own. It's just part of your organisation. But what we want to say to our organisations, they're not here. It's like, okay, so that's your priority. You guys spend some money on it and you do it. I don't care. Like, I want to do this. So you carry on and do what you want to do. It's fine, but let us grow.
I wouldn't suggest that. But what I did suggest to RNIB was hub and spoke, which Lee can talk a little bit more about. But I am actually really impressed how quickly. Do you want to tell a bit how it works at RNIB?
Yeah, so we've identified people who have tech skills to be sort of champions within their team, and then we've skilled them up and put loads of resource into giving them the skills and the freedom to do these things for themselves. We still have moderation checks in, so certain people can't publish websites, but they can create them. And same with social posts. We've got people now in different departments with access to our social media scheduling tool. Across all sorts of elements of digital, we're trying to build skills so that we're more the sort of, I think Brani's called it air traffic control when we've talked about emails. And so, yeah, having more of that oversight, but trying to get more people, because like you say, digital is part of everything. It's part of every job now. You can't really just have your digital team doing it.
Are we done?
I think we've got time maybe for one or two very quick questions,
Okay.
but we'll have to be very quick about it. Were the dark mode pages dynamic, and could you track their usage and performance? And somebody's followed up with, would be keen to know usage data for other accessibility features like large font or other colour settings.
We don't have font variability built in. That's probably something people use their tools for. With the stat that I know about the dark mode from the website, that's because our analytics person did some clever tracking. So we've got that through our analytics. We can see what colour mode people are using. I haven't copied that onto the Engaging Network stuff yet, so I don't know if there's any difference in conversion rate between the different colour modes or anything like that, but I do know that a lot of people do use dark mode. We also have a yellow mode on the main website, and people don't really use that as much. I think there are also a lot of people who use it sort of in an uncontrolled way, using their own Chrome plugins and things that will add it in a different way. So that works on the computer or phone, knowing that's their preference. And then the style sheet changes colour.
Cool. That'll be next year's talk then. On the colour modes. Very, very quickly, what are your top tips for simplifying data transfer when you do need to use multiple platforms in one journey? That's not a quick question to answer.
That's not a quick question.
I just read top tips.
Top tips to...
For simplifying data transfer between platforms.
I do have it's not a top tip, but I think AI is the solution possibly but you will need to have a data lake. So that data needs to go somewhere in order for AI to have a look and be able to give you some insights. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. In terms of quick, it's what we did, which is basically use one platform for most of the engagement actions, so data sits in the same place, therefore things can get triggered automatically, and then you can have a data exchange between engaging networks. There's something called master file or something like that, which then gets downloaded. It can automatically get downloaded and then imported through the things extract what's called EP. Anyway, Blender type of stuff, type of software, and brought into your CRM. So that bit is kind of slightly clunky, but on the engagement level, you have all the data in one place. So that would be my quick suggestion.
I've also used Zapier in a smaller charity, which worked quite well for us. We were using Raisely as a donation platform and MailChimp as our email platform, and using Zapier, you could quite easily clean the data up and send it over, and that worked quite well. We also used it to send it to Salesforce, so yeah, Zapier is quite good.
Great. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.